This past week, I really got pissed off. I really almost misbehaved. I was at the gas station. I was filling up Nita's car. She drives a Porsche, so she's got to have that premium gas. And I filled it up, and it got up to $65. That's right. And next to me was a lady in a Toyota Corolla. She had two kids in the back seat, and she went up to the cashier, and she gave him $20. And that's all she could put in the car. And I got pissed. I thought, my God, look at this. Here's big old Exxon. And he just punched that lady in the nose. That was $20 that she needed to go to the grocery store to buy food to put on the table. And I said, this is wrong. This is wrong that here's a company that is making money hand over fist and they're punishing the poor people. Yeah, I know. They didn't make any money back in second quarter of 2022. In fact, they lost some money because their oil sat in the tankers out in the harbors, and there was no place to unload it. But that is not an excuse to beat up on a young mother. And that's what you're doing, Exxon. You're beating up on poor people. Yeah, I can afford the $65. Hell, she's driving a Porsche. What do you mean? That's my mistake. But what you did to her is wrong. And so that's what I want to talk about in this video. How we're getting ripped off. No, she's getting ripped off. They're getting ripped off by these big oil companies. And it's got to stop. And it can only stop if you and I scream about it. And that's what I'm going to do. And I want you to do that. And then I went and I dug deeper. And I learned some more. And that's what I want to share with you in this video so that you can make some good investment decisions. Don't take my irateness about Exxon and take that and say, oh, I'm going to dump the stock. I want you to learn more. And you learn more by digging deeper and finding out what's really motivating this, and is it justified? And what is it Exxon really wants? Do they want her $20? Or is it something else they want? And can it be negotiated so that she can bring her gas bill back down to 10? All right? That's what this video is about. I'm going to rant. I'm going to rave. I'm going to be an old man. But it's not going to be financial advice. This is going to be financial education. And I'm going to strive every day to take this financial education to a new level, something you can't find elsewhere. And then I'm going to ask you to join our tribe and come and bring your knowledge and your anger and your enthusiasm and your passion to help us all make better investment decisions, learn to keep more of what we make. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you a guy who really learned how to keep more of what he makes. And then to pass on $11.26 million onto our heirs when we die. The guy I'm talking about, he's got it covered. All right, we'll get to it in a second.
Best of Us Investors presents Carrie Griegmeyer.
So as I said, I got pissed when I saw these talking heads telling me that these companies, these gasoline companies that were hitting me for $4.70 at the gas pump weren't making any more money, that the money was going somewhere else, that everybody pays the same price for oil. I said, that's nonsense. So the first thing I did was go to my Seeking Alpha Premium, and it says, here I can find out and I can dig into it, and I can see the stock's been doing okay while nobody else has, and they're up for almost 45% year over year. And so then I thought, well, let's take a look at their earnings and let's see if their earnings have changed. And so if I go right here and I click on earnings, it takes me to a history of their earnings. And as I page down, I can see it looks like earnings are going up. Now, it looks like here they missed, but I go back to second quarter 2021, and their actual earnings were $1.10, and then it went to 158, and then it went to 205, and then it went to 207, and wow, now it's projected to be 304. Somebody's making money off of somebody here. And so then I say, well, let me see if I can get any more in-depth information and a longer history that goes beyond the corona crisis. What is normal times? What is earnings per share? So I go here, and now I see that in June, second quarter, June of 2017, it was 78, and it was 93, and it looks like here they're getting up to $1.50. That was in fourth quarter of 2018, and then we see, of course, the crunch of the corona crisis, and they go to a negative 70 cents. Wow. That's quite a drop from a positive 53. And then they have second or third quarter at a negative 18. And then they start making some money in fourth quarter, because that's when we started getting back and driving our cars. And now look at it. It just keeps climbing. And so you're telling me that these people aren't making any money, that they aren't ripping me off? I don't see anywhere near that amount. The closest they came was 150 in 2018. Now they're at 205, and they're projecting second quarter a 30% increase up to 304. So who's not getting ripped off? Okay, I understand that you didn't make any money and you couldn't sell your oil, but again, this is a tax on the poor, and this is an unscrupulous company that I got upset about. And so I wanted to bring this information, and Seeking Alpha makes it so easy for me to get past the talking heads that tell me that, oh, they aren't ripping you off. I'll be damned if they aren't ripping me off. So, okay. So with that coincided with a couple other things that were going on, and I needed to find out more. So let me tell you where I went next. So about this same time, when I was getting pretty upset, my price of my gas went over $65. I saw that David Faber was doing a June 22nd documentary on the future, the crossroads of Exxon Mobile. And I said, well, I need to watch that. It was on a Wednesday night, so I watched it. And I honestly got done with it and said, well, that was a fluff piece.
I'll put in a flight plan. We got a flight plan ready to go. After continuing around.
More than 1,000 feet long and anchored off the coast of South America, this is the latest entrant in the global race to secure oil.
Hope you enjoyed the flight.
It is a monstrous piece of equipment.
We've now been producing oil and gas for about 78 days.
It's operated by Exxon Mobile, a globe-trotting behemoth that's changed the history of our planet. For more than 100 years, the company's oil and gas have fueled our commutes, taken our goods all over the world, and been converted into chemicals that go into our everyday products.
This is what's used for your milk jug.
For my milk jug. But now, we're paying the price for our insatiable energy consumption.
We've been seeing wildfires out in the western United States. We see the consequences of climate change bearing down on us.
If we don't wean ourselves off fossil fuels, if we don't fix climate change, it will fix us.
Exxon Mobil has been seen by many as a ringleader of climate change denial.
They're the ones who knew back in the 70s and 80s that the burning of fossil fuels is going to affect the climate.
Extended access to company executives, workers, and facilities.
Well, we could take you up there. Put a hard hat on you and some gloves. We'll take you anywhere you want to go.
This is very light crude.
This would be another form of blue hydrogen.
I'm actually third generation Exxon Mobil.
We're examining whether Exxon Mobil ExxonMobil is serious about lowering its carbon emissions.
You say you want to be a leader. Do you really think you are, that ExxonMobil is a leader in that area?
I think we will be, absolutely.
And finding out whether its investors are willing to pay for a faster energy transition.
I'm talking to shareholders this week, and you just don't get the mandate.
What would get you there?
These guys need to be punched in the face.
Breaking news, under attack.
But as events threaten the pivot,
gas prices they're killing us.
To a lower carbon future, with calls for energy companies to keep pumping.
For the good of your country, for the good of the world, to invest in immediate production.
ExxonMobil, and in some sense, America itself, stands at a crossroads.
Who put this together and who paid for this documentary? Did CNBC or did Exxon Mobil? What was the purpose of all this? And I got even more upset. So I got on the phone and I called their PR public relations department, and I found the email address to the head of their public relations department, and I wrote her and I said, hey, I'd like to have an interview with you, and I'd like to have an interview with David Faber to figure out and share with my viewers exactly what Exxon Mobil's doing here, and what is CNBC's role in it. Well, she didn't contact me, so Sunday night I texted her and said, hey, I'm hoping to get a phone call from you, and didn't get a phone call. So today is Tuesday, so I called her and she didn't answer her phone, so I left a message, and so far she hasn't gotten back to me, and maybe I'm just not a big enough fish in the water, and so I don't know. But I felt I needed to go deeper into this. So I've spent the morning, last night actually, and this morning, digging even deeper. And what I really saw was a more extended interview with Darren Woods. He's 57 years old. He's been with Exxon Mobil for 30 years, and now he is the CEO of the company. And David pretty much, he gave him this video was a 45-minute just straight interview between David and Darren. And I had a change of opinion. I still feel they're ripping us off, but what I came to realize is that Exxon Mobil is transitioning. They've recognized that they're not going to be a player. In fact, Darren basically says by 2040 there will be no combustionable automobiles on the road. They will be all electric. And he makes a statement, and you saw it in the other one. They are in the business of manipulating hydrocarbon molecules. In other words, what they're saying is we've got this product, we've got this thing that's called oil, and we know that gasoline is not going to be a function of it, and we've got all these refineries and all these wells that we're drilling. Our challenge is to find another use for that oil. And in the documentary, I had seen that the plastic milk mugs that I have and the bags that I Ziploc and the bags that holds my cornflakes in the Kellogg's bog, that's all made by plastics that are made by Exxon. And then he goes on to say, and this is really interesting, he says, we've got all these wells and we've got all these refineries. We've got to find a way to repurpose that oil and repurpose those refineries so that we are relevant in the future. And I thought, well, I'll be damned. They're turning into a tech company. And then they talked about green hydrogen and blue hydrogen, and recognizing that, yeah, you're going to have solar, but the sun doesn't shine all the time. And yes, you're going to have wind, but the wind doesn't blow all the time. So there is going to be a need for oil in the future. And then he got into carbon capture. In this, he says we can basically keep the big plants online and capture that carbon and then qualify. He says the government needs to level the playing field, that in any form, whether it's wind or sun, that you reduce the carbon footprint, that you get a reward, if you will. And that reward should also be beneficial to carbon capture, so that a plant that is using carbon but captures the carbon and then disposes of it properly. And I'm not real up to speed on that. I don't know if you can capture carbon and put it into the soil and over years it turns into oil again. I don't know about that. But what I realized is Exxon Mobile is turning into a tech company. And so I wouldn't go towards Exxon Mobil with a stick as far as buying their stock right now. But if they get the government lined up that says, yes, carbon capture and what Exxon Mobil is doing is as equal to turning us to a safe planet as solar and wind energy is, then you've got a major player here. So I wanted to share that with you because you, as being a astute investor, you have to look in the future. And I think if 6 months ago, 8 months ago, if we had all said, what is the future of Exxon Mobil? I think we would have collectively said, they're the walking dead. We're going to put them out of business. Don't be so sure. I was impressed by Darren Woods. I was that's a name I'm going to remember and I'm going to watch. I then am curious. He gets paid a $1.6 million salary. Okay, that's fair. But then I saw the additions to his retirement plan and stock options. His income last year was worth $15.6 million. Now, I think that's a little excessive. And I, understanding the tax code, he's only paying taxes probably on the 1.6. The difference of $14 million is going into his retirement, and it's uncaptured income at this point. So he's not paying income taxes on it. That's another element of this channel. Learn how to keep more of what you make. So take a $15.6 million salary, but only take $1.6 million of it in salary. So you only pay probably $800,000 in taxes this year on your $15.6 million windfall. And I still go back to that the best I saw they had made since 2017's earnings per share was $1.50 a share. Okay? That's the norm. That's the best they had achieved. But this year, this quarter, second quarter, they're projecting $3. Now, I'm not a genius, but I think $1.50 relative, $3 relative to $1.50 is a 100% increase. And that's at the expense of Nita and I, you and your family, and more importantly, the poor people. If you're spending twice as much on your gasoline, you aren't putting groceries on the table. You're falling behind in your rent. This needs to be some sort, and then the answer to the question is remove the state and the federal gas tax. Well, that means we don't get the potholes fixed. We don't get the bridges fixed. No, come on. Darren, if you are truly the kind of person I think you are, you need to ratchet this down. And you need to say, okay, we're going to invest in the American population. And in return, as you have said in the video, you want some consideration for the government so that your carbon capture is equal to the wind, solar, and the green movements. If that's your negotiation tool, and if you put that to the public, I know one person who will raise his hand and say, yeah, I'm for that. Give them a level playing field. He mentions that. Give us a level playing field. Well, negotiate that level playing field, Darren, by saying we'll reduce the price of we charge for gasoline until we get through this overinflationary period and bring our earnings per share down to $1.50 a share, where we were at the height of our best. If you'll do that, we'll reduce the price. That's negotiation. You don't screw your customers like this. Come on. This is wrong. And we, the public, now that you know the numbers, now that you have access to Seeking Alpha, and you can look back and see what these companies are doing, there's no excuse. And we got to stand up and scream and say, no, this is not fair, and particularly to the poor people. This is an ungodly tax. Now, we need to address the food. We'll get to that in the next video, hopefully, or somewhere down the road. Okay, this is what Kerry's all about. He wants the things that are on his mind, he's going to share with you. All right, if you want to be a part of this channel, come to our Friday Stock Talk. That'll give you, go to the Discord, find the link there, and show up this Friday, and we'll talk more about this. And you're going to find a good group of people who have the common interest that you do, and that is to make good investment decisions. Do like Darren and learn to keep more of what you make. And thirdly, learn how Darren's going to have no problem passing on the $11.26 million onto his heirs. He's good. He's good. Now we need to get good. All right. That's Kerry Grinkmeyer. That's Best of Us Investors. And let's meet us at the Friday Stock Talk.